Alright, today we're gonna introduce to you the concept of a comparative essay. So it's a question that we get very regularly. A lot of students know that comparative essays are generally pretty hard to do, and it requires a little bit more techniques than usual. So in this video, I'm gonna talk about the different types of comparative essays and how do we brainstorm for each of these essays. Okay, a comparative essay typically has two components. Let's have a look at the examples over here. Okay. Human action should be based on scientific fact, not religious faith. How far do you agree? So you see the two components here is between scientific fact and religious faith. Human need rather than profit should always be the main concern of scientific research. Okay, so again, two components that we need to compare. The third question here, longer life expectancy creates more problems than benefits. Let me zoom in a little for you guys. Longer life expectancy creates more problems than benefits. Here we have a slightly different sort of question. We have problems and benefits. Hosting major sports events creates more problems and benefits. Again, we see problems, benefits. So all four of them are comparative essay questions, but they are not the same. Now, the first type of comparative essay questions, okay, I'm just going to call it type 1 over here. You are only given one thing to evaluate. Okay, you are only looking at life expectancy, longer life expectancy, one component, and we're talking about the problems and benefits of this one component. Hosting major sports events creates more problems and benefits. Again, the key is this has problems and benefits. Now compare that with this here. Human actions should be based on scientific fact, not religious faith. We see human actions should be based on scientific fact, not religious faith. We have two separate ideas over here. Similarly, human need and profit are two separate ideas. This is what we call type 2 comparative essay questions. The way to tackle each of them is quite different. So when people ask me how do I write a comparative essay, I think the very first step, first thing you need to ask yourself is what kind of comparative essay questions it is. The first type of comparative essay question, the type 1 over here. Oh, maybe I'll talk about type 2 first. Okay, type 2 comparative essay questions. Let's think about the stands, the number of stands you can take, right? What stands, how many stands can we take? If I ask you, do you like apples or orange? You could tell me, I like apples, I like orange. Or there's a third possibility, which is that I like both apples and orange. You see, human actions could be based on scientific fact, religious faith, or both. So you can take 3 stands and one of them would be both of the components here. If you look at the second question, you will see the same pattern. It can be human need, profit, or both should be the concerns of scientific research. However, if you look at type 1, right? Type 1 doesn't allow for this third stand here. It's just not possible. Look at this, longer life expectancy creates more problems than benefits. It's almost like me asking you, do you like or hate apples? It will be weird for you to say, I like apples as much as I hate them, right? You can't bring in like, oh, they have equal number of problems than benefits, okay? Equal in number and equal in extent. There's simply no way for you to, list down all the problems, list down all the benefits and say, okay, there are more problems than benefits. Okay, within 1.5 hours, we just can't do that sort of thing. So it is only possible for you to take 2 stands, problems or benefits. Problems or benefits. So know the difference between these two. Now let's go to brainstorming. Brainstorming for comparative essays is always very straightforward. we have, maybe I shouldn't use the word straightforward. It's actually one of the least straightforward. We know this is a tier 3 question. Tier 3 because it is difficult. There are many ways to tackle the question. So to address the comparative essay questions, in my opinion, right? I know different schools will teach it differently, but the most convincing way for you to do it is to come up with a common criteria. Consider the first question we have. Human action should be based on scientific fact, not religious faith. I have science on one side, I have religion on the other. So let's consider the common criteria. I know it will be quite hard if I tell you, okay, think about common criteria. You wouldn't know what to do. But let's think of individual points that we can bring in first, right? Think about science. Okay, human actions. Let's say it should be based on scientific fact. Why? Why should it be based on scientific fact? Because science offers us real, actionable solutions. So it creates solutions, okay, practical solutions. Religion doesn't offer such practical solutions for our the issues that we face on a day-to-day basis. Think about in the past, right? When a person falls sick, before mankind knew about microorganisms, because microscopes were not available yet, people used to think that religion was to be blamed, like God was angry, that's why people fell sick. This happened for the Black Death, which is the bubonic plague, smallpox, and all kinds of diseases that we have seen. So people used to blame sometimes individuals or supernatural power to use it to explain, and the solutions naturally would be to do what? If there is a Black Death going on, people are dying, the solution at the time was simply to pray. But we know in 2020, okay, in 21st century, this is no longer a practical solution to a human problem. However, with science, we now know, okay, you can take the antibiotics, you can get vaccinated, all sorts of things. So that's a common criteria over here. Which one offers practical solution? If science offers practical solutions as compared to religion, then for this particular point, just gonna erase that, science over religion. Voila. Okay, so this is how you do brainstorming for a comparative essay. In the next video, I'm going to talk about how to the in-depth details of how to tackle comparative essays and how do we structure the paragraphs. So stay tuned for the next video.